If you're training hard, eating right, and spending money on supplements, but you're not seeing the results you expect, you may be believing lies that are sabotaging you from day one. Today, I'll reveal 15 bodybuilding myths you need to leave behind immediately if you want to gain real muscle. Because yes, even if you train every day, if you continue to believe these myths, you're throwing time, effort, and money down the drain. Stick around to the end because myth number 8 is the one most people still believe, and also the one that stalls your progress the most. Myth 1: cardio is more important than weights for weight loss. This myth is one of the most common in the fitness world, but today we're going to debunk it. Many people believe that in order to lose weight you have to do endless cardio sessions. The reality is that this approach is not enough, and here we explain why. Cardio definitely helps burn calories during exercise, but it's a temporary solution. After you finish your cardio session, caloric expenditure decreases rapidly, which means the effect on metabolism doesn't last long. It's like lighting a candle. The flame goes out as soon as you stop giving it oxygen. The key to fat loss is not just burning calories while you train, but increasing your resting metabolism. This is where weights come in. Weight training not only burns calories during exercise, it builds muscle. And muscle, being metabolically active tissue, burns more calories even when you're not training. The real solution to effective weight loss is to combine cardio and weights. Cardio is great for improving your cardiovascular health, but strength training will help you preserve muscle mass, increase your metabolism, and burn more calories in the long run. So, it's not one or the other. Do both and maximize your results. Myth 2: you don't need to train your legs if you run or cycle. This myth is one we hear often, especially among those who are cardio fanatics. The belief that running or cycling is enough to keep your legs strong, but today we're going to disprove it. Yes, these exercises activate leg muscles, but not in the way that strength training does. Cardio may improve your endurance and cardiovascular health, but it's not designed to build muscle or deeply strengthen leg muscles. When running or cycling, the muscles you are working the most are endurance muscles, but you are not really challenging the muscle to gain strength or hypertrophy. Weight training, such as squats, deadlifts, or lunges, acts differently. By performing these exercises with weights, you stimulate muscle growth and not just endurance. This helps you increase the functional strength of your legs, improve stability, and reduce the risk of injury. In addition, strength training helps you develop muscle balance, prevent injuries, increase muscle mass, and increase bone density, something that cardio cannot effectively provide. The best thing you can do is supplement your cardio routine with strength training. If you run or cycle, great. But don't forget that your legs need a weight challenge too. Myth 3: avoid carbs if you want to look defined. This is another common myth in the fitness world. The myth that you should avoid carbs to achieve definition stems from the idea that carbs make you gain fat or make you bloated. The truth is that carbs are essential for your body to function, especially if you train intensely. The problem is not with the carbs themselves, but with how you consume them and how much. If you simply eliminate carbs from your diet without understanding how to manage them, not only will you not achieve the definition you desire, but you may also negatively affect your physical performance. Why it's a lie. Carbohydrates are your body's main source of energy, especially during intense workouts. If you stop consuming them, your performance in the gym will decrease, and that can affect muscle preservation and, therefore, your ability to maintain good body composition. In addition, cutting out carbs drastically can lead to negative effects, such as fatigue, irritability, and a drop in metabolism. What really matters is the type and amount of carbs you consume, not whether or not you eat them. Instead of eliminating carbohydrates, what you should do is choose healthier and more balanced sources of carbohydrates. Opt for complex carbohydrates such as oatmeal, brown rice, sweet potatoes, legumes, and vegetables. These carbohydrates are digested slowly, which keeps your energy level stable and prevents body fat gain. Myth 4: you must train every day to make progress. This is another myth that many people still believe. The idea that you must train every day to get fast results is a big misconception. The reason many people think that training every day is the key to progress is because they believe that the more they train, the faster they will see results. But the reality is that training without rest can do more harm than good. Real progress happens outside the gym, during rest. When we train, especially with weights, we are creating small micro-injuries in the muscles. It is during rest that these muscles repair and grow. Training every day without giving your body time to recover can lead to overload, resulting in overtraining. This overtraining can reduce your performance, increase the risk of injury, and, most importantly, impede muscle growth. The body needs time to adapt and repair, and if you don't give it that time, you won't see the gains you expect. The key: a proper training plan can include 3 to 5 days of training per week, with rest days in between to allow the muscles to repair and grow. Also, don't underestimate the importance of active rest. Walking, stretching, or yoga can help recovery without overtaxing your body. Myth 5: squats are bad for your knees. This is one of the most damaging myths out there in the training world. The myth that squats are bad for your knees stems from the misconception that the deep leg bending motion puts too much stress on your joints. However, if you perform squats with the correct technique, squats are actually great for strengthening the knees and joints in general. The problem is not the squats themselves, but doing them incorrectly. If you don't maintain proper posture, such as bending your knees inward, keeping your back hunched, or using excessive weight without control, that can put unnecessary stress on your knees. But when you perform squats correctly, with good alignment of the knees, hips, and feet, it distributes the stress evenly, protecting the joints. In addition, squats activate and strengthen the quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings, which, in the long run, reduces stress on the knees. The solution is clear: learn the correct technique and progress in a controlled manner. Myth 6: you can't gain muscle after a certain age. The idea that age limits the ability to gain muscle stems from the belief that as we age, our metabolism and our ability to grow muscle decreases. While it is true that testosterone levels and other anabolic hormones decline with age, this does not mean that it is impossible to gain muscle. In fact, many older people have shown that the body is still able to adapt to strength training even after 50, 60, or beyond. What really happens with age is that, if we don't train regularly or if we don't eat properly, we can experience a loss of muscle mass known as sarcopenia. But this is completely preventable and reversible. The key is to train with weights consistently, follow a proper diet, and get the rest you need. In fact, studies have shown that older people who strength train can increase their muscle mass and improve their body composition, even when they are over the age of 70. Strength training is so effective at any age because it stimulates muscle regeneration and improves bone density, which is especially important as we age. The solution is simple: don't put limits on your ability to gain muscle just because of age. If you're over 30, 40, or 50, it's the perfect time to start. Myth 7: you need pre-workouts for energy. The myth that pre-workouts are a must for energy during workouts is one of the most common, but the reality is that the energy to train comes from your body and your nutrition. Pre-workouts may be helpful for some people, but they are not necessary or mandatory to get good results in the gym. What you really need is proper nutrition throughout the day and good rest. Pre-workouts contain ingredients like caffeine, beta-alanine, and other stimulants that can give you a temporary boost of energy. But here's the rub: your body can generate energy on its own if you have a balanced diet. Eating complex carbohydrates before training, such as oatmeal or sweet potatoes, will give you a steady release of energy during your workout. Also, if you don't get enough rest, pre-workouts are not going to address accumulated fatigue. The key to having energy during workouts is maintaining healthy habits throughout the day, not just consuming a pre-workout supplement. The real solution is to optimize your nutrition and manage your energy naturally. If you eat well, with enough protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats, and get enough sleep, you don't need a pre-workout to feel energized. Pre-workouts can be useful in very specific cases, but they are not the basis for good performance. Myth 8: you can reduce localized fat with specific exercises. This is another myth that keeps circulating out there, and it may be leading you down the wrong path. The idea that you can reduce fat from a specific area of the body, such as the abdomen or thighs, simply by doing specific exercises for that area is a huge fallacy. Localized fat reduction is simply impossible. When you do exercises, such as sit-ups, what you are working on is the muscle, not the fat that covers it. Fat is not reduced in an isolated area by doing exercises in that area. The body loses fat across the board, and we can't choose where to lose it from. By doing abdominal exercises, for example, you are strengthening and toning your abdominal muscles, but you are not burning the fat that covers them directly. To reduce fat in any area, you need to create a caloric deficit, burn more calories than you consume, through a combination of diet and exercise. As you lose fat across the board, You'll notice that it gradually decreases in problem areas, but not by doing thousands of repetitions of a specific exercise. Focus on an overall fat loss strategy. Myth 9. Supplements are mandatory for progress. This myth is one of the most pervasive in the fitness world. The supplement industry has grown tremendously, and while some supplements can be helpful, the truth is that they are not a must for progress. Many believe that without them they won't be able to reach their goals, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Supplements are just that, a supplement, not a necessity. If you have a good diet, proper training, and sufficient rest, you can make great progress without relying on supplements. What really matters for progress in the gym are the fundamentals: consistent training, proper nutrition, and sufficient rest. Supplements can be helpful in certain cases, such as when you can't get certain nutrients from your diet or when you're looking for an extra boost, but they're not a requirement to see progress. For example, protein powder can help you if you don't consume enough protein through food, but you're not going to gain muscle just by taking it. The same goes for pre-workouts, creatine, or BCAAs. The key is your effort and how you structure your training and nutrition. Myth 10. Too many reps with too little weight defines muscle. This is one of the most common myths, especially among those looking to look more defined and toned. The idea that doing a lot of reps with little weight will help you define muscle comes from the assumption that this eliminates fat and shapes muscle. However, muscle definition is not achieved with high reps and light weights alone. True definition comes from reducing overall body fat, which can only be achieved with a combination of proper training and controlled diet. No matter how many reps you do, if you're not in a caloric deficit, you're not going to get rid of that layer of fat covering your muscles. When you do a lot of reps with low weights, what you are really doing is training muscular endurance and not stimulating hypertrophy, muscle growth. If your goal is to build muscle and increase lean muscle mass, what you need are workouts with higher weights and moderate reps that challenge you to work harder. Building muscle is what will give you greater definition, not doing infinite reps with low weights. In addition, heavy weight training also helps improve metabolism, which will help you burn more calories even outside the gym. Myth 11. Muscle turns to fat if you stop training. This is another myth that many people still believe, and it is one of the most erroneous. Muscle cannot turn into fat. They are two completely different tissues. The confusion stems from the fact that when you stop training, you can lose muscle mass due to lack of stimulation. At the same time, if you don't maintain a good diet and proper activity level, you can gain fat. But this is not the same as muscle turning into fat. The human body does not have the ability to transform one type of tissue into another. When you stop training, you can lose muscle mass due to a lack of stimulation and a decrease in your physical activity levels. This may give the impression that your muscle has turned into fat, but in reality what is happening is that the muscle is atrophying due to lack of training, and if you don't control your diet, you can accumulate body fat. They are separate processes. To avoid muscle loss, the ideal is to maintain regular physical activity and follow a balanced diet, even if you decide to take a break from training. Myth 12. More sweat equals better training. Have you ever heard that the more you sweat, the better your training? This is one of the most common myths. The amount of sweat you produce during a workout has nothing to do with the quality of the workout or the amount of fat you are burning. Sweating is simply a form of temperature regulation in your body. When you sweat, your body is trying to keep its internal temperature balanced to avoid overheating. This does not indicate either that you are burning more calories or that your training is more effective. What is important is not how much you sweat, but the intensity of your workout, the progressive load, and the quality of your movements. You can do a high-intensity workout with little sweat and still achieve great results if you focus on technique, endurance, and progressive overload. Myth 13. Training abs every day brings out the six-pack. This myth is on the lips of many, especially among those who want to show off a defined abdomen as soon as possible. Training crunches every day is not the key to a defined abdomen. What many people don't know is that having a visible six-pack depends largely on the amount of body fat you have. If you don't have a low fat percentage, it doesn't matter how many crunches you do, you won't see that defined muscle. Abs are a muscle group like any other, and as with other muscles, they need to recover after a workout. Overtraining them without giving them time to rest can lead to overload and, in some cases, injury. Even if you have very strong abdominal muscles, if you don't reduce the layer of fat that covers them, you won't see them. Abs training is only part of the process. The key to a tight abdomen is a combination of controlled diet, cardiovascular exercise, and strength training to reduce total body fat. Myth 14: if you don't feel burning, you're not training well. This is a myth that confuses many people, especially those who focus too much on how they feel during training. The burning you feel during a workout is due to the buildup of lactic acid in the muscles, which is a byproduct of anaerobic exercise. However, just because you feel burning does not mean you are training more effectively. Burning is not an indicator of a good workout, it is just a temporary reaction of the body to exertion. In fact, not burning doesn't mean you're not challenging your muscles or making progress. There are many ways to measure effective training that don't depend on that feeling. You can be training well, building strength and building muscle without getting that burn. What's important is how you structure your training. Intensity, volume, frequency, and rest are the key factors for progress. Also, if you focus only on burning, you may be neglecting other essential aspects of training, such as technique or stabilizer muscle work. Focus on progressing over time. Gradually increase weight, reps, or intensity. The burning sensation is not necessary to gain strength or muscle mass. Myth 15: treadmill or bike before training is enough warm-up. This is a myth that is still very common in gyms. Many believe that just by doing a few minutes on the treadmill or bike before training, they are ready to go. While light cardio on the treadmill or bike may raise your body temperature a bit and activate your muscles, that only covers a very small part of what you really need for an effective warm-up. A proper warm-up is not only about getting your heart rate up, but also about specifically preparing the muscles and joints you'll be using during your workout. A general warm-up on the treadmill or bike does not cover joint mobility, nor does it properly activate the muscles specifically for the type of exercise you will be doing. The warm-up should be dynamic and specific to the workout you are going to perform. This involves performing movements that mimic the exercises you are going to do, such as non-weighted squats, lunges, jumping jacks, or joint rotations. If you are going to strength train, it is advisable to perform light sets of the exercises you are going to do, thus activating the muscles and joints in a specific way. An active warm-up also improves blood circulation and increases flexibility, which will help you perform your movements more efficiently and safely. And there you have it. We've debunked 15 common myths about training and bodybuilding. As you've seen, many of these myths have led us to make wrong choices that don't allow us to reach our goals in the most effective way. The key is to understand the real principles of training and nutrition, and not be fooled by simplistic ideas or misinterpretations. Remember, it's not about following what everyone else is saying, but understanding what really works for your body, your goals, and your needs. Whether you're looking to gain muscle, lose fat, or improve your performance, the important thing is to train smart, maintain a proper diet, and give your body the rest time it needs. So, if any of these beliefs have surprised you, it's time to change the way you train. Don't let the myths hold you back, and start implementing what will really help you progress. If you liked this video, give it a like, comment below which myth surprised you the most, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Remember, true progress comes when we understand what we're doing and make informed decisions to reach our goals. See you in the next video.